Welcome. If you're looking for a place to bring Hollywood home on a budget, this is your oasis. This is your sanctuary. Come, kick off your shoes. Take a load off. Take a breath. Open your eyes. Open your mouth and your taste buds to the taste of endless possibilities. And most importantly, open your heart to the stress and judgment-free zone, where you will be safe from harm as you add that Tinseltown touch to secondhand shopping. Welcome to the Thrift Store Rundown. I'd hate to kick off the first day of spring, a time of renewal, rebirth, and regrowth, by being the bearer of bad news, but if my intention was to kick off the first day of spring by being the bearer of bad news, well then, we all owe a very big shout-out to Mr. Robert Aaron Lawn of Woodstock, Georgia, the 21-year-old charged with 8 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault for assassinating 8 individuals at numerous spas in Atlanta, Georgia, 6 of them Asian American women. There were 9 victims in total, but 1 of them survived. If any of the charges meet the criteria for federal hate crimes, Mr. Lawn could face the death penalty. Isn't he something? And by the way, you know I was being sarcastic. The fact that this is still a commonplace thing in our society, these mass shootings, the loss of innocence in the most ridiculously absurd way, is total BS. Which is why I designed this particular video to be a relaxing experience, because really, the first day of spring is all about finding your inner peace and utilizing various constructive and creative ways to channel your inner zen. Hence the spa music on my Echo Show 5 and the cookbooks you see before you. First off, the Golden Door Cookbook, purchased for 50% off the price of $6.99. It's authored by executive chef Michael Strout, and it features 200 delicious and healthful recipes from the world's most luxurious spa in Southern California. On the right, purchased for $7.99, we have Simply Ming, easy techniques for East meets West meals. It's from the host and executive producer of the PBS WGBH television production for public television, Ming Tsai. It's also co-authored by Arthur Boehm, and together they're also the authors of the Blue Ginger Cookbook, named for one of Ming Tsai's restaurants in Wellesley, Massachusetts. Before we go any further into either of these books, I want to say that I could say thoughts and prayers go out to everybody affected by this tragedy, especially the families who have lost their loved ones, and believe you me, they still do. But sometimes words don't allow to a lot of action, okay? And also, we could do nothing and just feel like a bystander. And what would that do? Stress us out even more, to the point of banging our heads against the wall. It's the kind of guilt we cannot live with. So instead, I choose to tailor certain reviews based around breaking news events, be they tragic or be they triumphant. Unfortunately, we're doing this in the former category, and if there was ever a time to break out this particular cookbook, as well as this one, it's now. But I'm going to start with this first, because I am keenly aware of all of the Asian American hate crimes, fatal and non-fatal, and they have to stop. We need to recognize and be very fond of all of the magnificent contributions that the Asian American and Pacific Asian Americans have made in our society, especially when it comes to adding a little spice of flavor to our everyday lives, which is exactly what Ming Tsai does. Retail prices: $32.50 stateside and $45 in Canada. This book begins with an outline of basic Asian fusion glossary terms and techniques and tips, all designed for you to add ethnic flavor to your meals, along with several master recipes for various Asian rubs, sauces, and oils. You'll find them all right here in the contents. Flavored oils and sauces, sambals, salsas, chutneys, and pastes, dressings, dipping sauce and marinades, syrups, broths, rubs and coatings, doughs, and desserts. I'm going to highlight a few recipes in here which I think perfectly illustrate Ming's mission to add East meets West Asian fusion flair to everyday American staples. First up, Asian Sloppy Joes. As a kid, I always looked forward to my mom's Sloppy Joes, which she made with hoisin sauce in place of tomatoes and onions. It really worked, so I salute her here with my own hoisin sauce version, which sneaks some tomatoes back in for acidic balance and includes jalapeno for a bit of heat. Sorry, Mom. Along the way, he'll serve many ingredient prep tips and substitutions, as well as beverage suggestions. Like a simple beer. Well, he's a man of pretty refined taste. An indigenous New Orleans classic, given an East meets West Asian fusion flair. Spicy green curry rock shrimp gumbo. No photograph to speak of. Asian chicken salad with baby hearts of romaine. Oh, and by the way, it's not just beer that he suggests for some of the recipes. There's also various wines. Pan-seared soy Dijon hamburger on toast. Again, no photograph. This utilizes one of Ming's master marinade recipes, the soy Dijon marinade, which calls for soy sauce and Dijon mustard. Asian meatloaf. A family staple, given ethnic flair of the highest order. I made my first meatloaf when I was 15, and it left a lot to be desired. I thought all you had to do to make meatloaf was put some ground meat in a pan and bake it. The result of this approach when served was a break-your-toe food brick. Not this delicious East-West take on the classic. Ming has since earned his meatloaf credentials as a result. And so will you. And finally, for dessert, an Asian banana split. People sometimes laugh when I say there's no more perfect dish than a banana split. But well-made, it balances different tastes, textures, and temperatures to the deep satisfaction of all who enjoy it. So, what are you looking to watch? That old classic kid show, The Banana Splits, or that heinously hilarious Banana Splits movie? This would be an ideal way to go. Although, if I was a member of the community, which I'm not, I would abstain from watching that particular movie, the Banana Splits movie. This is a Clarkson Potter publication with photographs by Alan Richardson. Make any one of Ming-Tsai's master recipes, sauces, salsas, spice blends, broths, and many more, when you have a bit of extra time. Then keep it on hand to jumpstart a variety of quickly prepared East-West dishes. Ming shows 3 or more different ways to use each of these flavor-packed master ingredients. From savory soups and appetizers to sophisticated entrees and sensational desserts. So East-West cooking can be an everyday pleasure. This was purchased somewhere else. It doesn't specify where. For the retail price of $32.50. Now, from Wellesley, Massachusetts to Southern California, we move on to the Golden Door Cookbook, which, by the way, was signed by the author back in July of 1999, even though this was published in 1997. This was addressed to Kathy, in joy and good health. And now, more than 20 years later, it's here. Inside our New Jersey library. What makes the Golden Door Spa so unique, so legendary, and so magical? Why is it consistently ranked the top health spa in the country? Why do guests return year after year? You're about to find out. As Chef Michael Stroot's cuisine shows in this full-color photo inset, the recipes he prepares, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all, even desserts, all rely heavily on lean meats and fish, fruits, veggies, and whole grains. No cream sauces, no cheese. Nothing fattening or heavy. And no over-the-top desserts, as he says. The desserts are light and refreshing. And while the recipes contained in here, and by the way, if you live near the Golden Door or plan on visiting the Golden Door with some serious social distancing protocols in place, it will be up to you to determine whether or not any of the recipes featured in here still exist on the menu. Michael Struth is no longer executive chef. But for those who have visited the Golden Door Spa during the period in which this book was published, it's like breathing the Golden Door's refined and peaceful, yet flavorful flights of fancy home. And you don't have to shell out big bucks to do so. The same formula goes for Simply Ming's cookbook, and really any other cookbook for that matter. Ingredient prep tips and substitutions. And yet, surprisingly, even though this is a spa cookbook, the very first spa cookbook I own, there is no nutritional information to speak of here. None whatsoever for any of the recipes. That being said, you don't really need to rely on nutritional info or stats to trust the Golden Door cookbook's promise here. Flavorful dishes that are high in flavor but low in fat. Bring the spa experience home with this collection of vibrant, low-fat recipes from the chef at the Golden Door Spa. Retail prices, $30 in the US and $41.95 in Canada. I was hesitant upon purchasing this book because rarely do I buy restaurant cookbooks if they're not national chain restaurants or celebrity-owned restaurants like Morton's and Bobby Flay's, respectively. But this was sitting on the shelf for a long period of time, and it was either I buy it or somebody else buys it, or it would just go to storage for a long time and nobody buys it, and this will just rot in obscurity. Not on my watch. One more note for Simply Ming. In addition to giving you the master recipes for the marinades and the rubs and the spices and the oils, he also gives you a date in when to use these rubs and marinades and spices and oils. Not necessarily a date, but more of a guideline, a term for when you should use these master recipes, how long they'll stay fresh in the fridge or in your pantry. The Golden Door Cookbook and Simply Ming earn 4.5 out of 5 claps for a total of 9 out of 10. The Golden Door Cookbook, in my opinion, deserves extra kudos for the acknowledgement of the guests of the Golden Door from Executive Chef Michael Struth at the beginning of the book. This video goes out to the Asian American community, crazy rich in culture. And yes, that was a deliberate reference to crazy rich Asians. If you can't learn how to smile while you're coping with loss, what's the point in living? And what's the point of this video existing anyway? The world should learn to be a little more kinder to itself and its cohabitants. That way, we can continue to enjoy and savor life's sweet moments. That, my friends, is the key to total peace and very good eating. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the flip side.